how do you see this playing out? So the Broncos come in here on a Thursday night. How do you see that game playing out?
It's just hard for me to say the Browns aren't going to win this game. I'm not impressed with the Broncos. They've had some injury issues of their own. They're 3-3, but again, they've beaten Jacksonville, they've beaten the Jets, and they've beaten the Giants. So those are their 3 wins. The Browns for as rightfully as they've been criticized for what happened on Sunday and what happened against the Chargers, they have played well against teams that aren't as good as them. And frankly, they've been in games up until yesterday. They've been in games with the Chiefs. They were in that game with the Chargers and had a chance to win it. So that tells me this is still a good football team. And things got a little bit out of hand on Sunday. I feel like that was an outlier. I feel good about this game and the Browns being 4-3 early Friday morning.
When you look at some of the key guys that they need to try to get back, you mentioned Landry. Who else do you think of the banged up would help significantly on Thursday?
One of those tackles would be enormous to get either Jedrick Wills or Jack Conklin. If you can't get both back, to at least get one of those guys back out there, so then you can maybe move Blake Hance to the other. If it's Wills, you can move Blake Hance to right tackle. If it's Conklin, you can keep Blake Hance over there, but you can maybe help him a little bit more on that side. You don't have to worry about James Hudson and helping him as well. I think those 2 guys are the really big ones to get back. I mean, obviously, look, if you can get Nick Chubb back, that would be fantastic. But I think you can at least manufacture enough. If he has to miss another game and you have to play it a little bit safe with him, you can probably manufacture enough of a running game if you get at least one of your tackles back to not forget Nick Chubb, but run the ball effectively enough to do what you need to do.
When Kevin Stefanski and this coaching staff looks at this, how much do you think, do you think if there's any doubt at all with health that they kind of err on the side of caution, because you do have that quote-unquote mini bye coming up, and you want to get folks healthy because it's a banged-up football team?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough balance for them because, this is an important football game, and you don't want to, be sitting there when this thing's over at 11:30 or 11:45 Thursday night and say, man, we really should have played a couple of these guys that maybe could have gone. Maybe we would have won that game. So I think you've got to strike that balance a little bit because this is an AFC opponent. This is a game you should win, and you don't want to be 3-4 heading into this stretch here. So, I think they'll strike that balance. They've done a good job of that so far, of kind of determining the guys that need to kind of fight through some things and some guys that maybe should sit out. But I do think, like, if Jedrick Wills is even close to being able to go, or Jack Conklin is even close to being able to go, they might push it a little bit with those guys, and then maybe use that 10 days rest to their advantage if those guys are banged up a little.
As you look at this matchup, what are some of the keys, some of the areas that that the Browns need to make sure they take care of so that they do, in fact, come away with a win on Thursday?
You can't let Denver's defense figure out how to wreck this game. You can't let Von Miller, play like J.J. Watt or Marcus Golden did yesterday. You've got to make sure that, you're protecting Baker Mayfield, or if it is Case Keenum, you're protecting them enough to get the football out. And you can't come away from this game thinking, man, Von Miller just absolutely destroyed this game, and that's why the Browns lost. You've got to neutralize what they do on defense, because offensively, this should be a chance for this defense to at least get a little bit right going against a Broncos offense that has some weapons, but isn't, it's not the Chargers, the Cardinals, it's not the Chiefs.
And the last thing I would say is they got to take care of the football. I mean, I always say that, and people will always, oh, of course they do. Well, you saw yesterday what happens when you turn the football over in the NFL, and it is no good. The game gets away from you in a hurry when your offense turns the ball over.
And it's something they've been so good about. I mean, Baker Mayfield, that was probably the biggest step he took in the second half of last year. He really took care of the football. And yesterday, you saw the fumbles, you saw the bad interception. That's kind of why you say that. It's because it's something that's not normal for them to turn the football over. And like you said, you see what happens when they do.